Hey people, I welcome you back to Caroline's Online Academy. I'm sure you're preparing for your board exams and all. Few of my students actually wanted me to prepare video based on past adjustment problems. I'm preparing a series of videos where we'll be handling all the past types of different types of past adjustment problems. Past adjustment problems are like compulsory questions, almost like compulsory questions in CBSE board exam. It has been asked many number of times, almost in every other attempt, so it is important that we learn that before we go for the exam. Understood? So that's what we're going to be doing now. I'm going to divide the past adjustment questions into two types. One, using the P&L adjustment account. The other is without P&L adjustment or through partners capital account. I'm sure you would have, solve these kinds of questions from your books. But using P&L adjustment question is part of your NCRT, and they've also asked a couple of questions in last year's practice question paper. That is 23-24 practice question paper. They've asked a couple of questions using P&L adjustment account. I'll be doing that also in a separate video. First, we will start with this without P&L adjustment or through partners capital account. I'm going to be explaining what past adjustment is or what does it mean and everything, because I don't think that makes any that is relevant from examination point of view. It is relevant. I'm sure you already know all of that now. So what you don't know, I'm going to just take care of that. I'm just going to teach you how to solve these problems, because at this point of time, that is more important, I believe. All right. For our benefit, I have I have taken a problem. This is the basic past adjustment problem that we have. Um, I took this problem from NCRT. This will help us understand what we need to do in a past adjustment problem. It's the most basic problem without any twist. You may not get questions like this in the board exam. There'll definitely be more to the past adjustment problem asked in board exam than this. But in any case, I'm going to just solve this to explain the basics. The question starts like this: a net profit of X, Y, and Z for the year ended 31st March 2020 was rupees 60,000, and the same was distributed in the agreed ratio 3:1:1. It was subsequently discovered that undermentioned transactions were not recorded in books. Interest on capital at 5%, interest on drawing 700, 500, 300, partner salary 1,000 and 5,500 per annum for X and Y. The capital accounts of the partners were fixed as X 1 lakh, Y 80,000, and Z 60,000. So what I recommend my students to do when they're solving a past adjustment problem is create a table like this. Again, I'm not explaining the logic of how to do this and why we are doing this and all at this point, because I don't think it is relevant 2 days before the exam. I'm just going to teach you how to solve it. Create a table like this and then write the usual adjustment that will be there in your P&L appropriation account. One wrongly credited section, we'll call it A, and to be credited section, we'll call it B. The problem here in the question is the business actually distributed 60,000 profit without adjusting for interest on capital, interest on drawings, and partner salary. So what they did wrong was they distributed the profits in that ratio without adjusting. So the wrongly credited will be share of profits distributed in the old profit sharing ratio. 36,000, 12,000, 12,000, 60,000. And I do the total of all these things. No other adjustments are there. Now, when we come to be credited column, we need to actually record whatever we have to record. So interest on capital has not been credited. However, it has to be credited at 5% per annum as per the question. So the capital amounts are given here. I'm going to credit interest on capital at 5% per annum. So it's 1 lakh into 5% for X, 1 lakh, I'm sorry, 80,000 into 5% for Y, and 60,000 into 5% for Z. And then they also told that interest on drawing amounting to 700, 500, and 300 has not been accounted. Now we have to account for it. Now, interest on drawings is usually debited to partner's capital account. Am I right or not, my dear children? And here we are writing it as to be credited. Therefore, interest on drawings, we'll write it as negative 300. So that is done. Salary or commission for X it is 1000 and for Y it is 1500. Now, the share of profits, the new share we have to, new profit we need to find out because that 60,000 was before all the adjustments. Am I right or not? So the new share will be the profit before adjustment. Interest on capital is subtracted from profit. So I am subtracting it here, 12,000. Salary or commission is also subtracted. So I'm taking from the table and subtracting it here. Interest on drawings is added. So I'm adding it here. So I compute the new profits to be 47,000. Now this 47,000 only is a correct profit which should be distributed. So I'm distributing it in the ratio 3:1:1. Now after I do that, I do the total of B. Total of A is 36,000, 12,000, 12,000. Total of B is 33,500, 14,500, and 12,100. For X, he was wrongly credited 36,000, but he's supposed to be credited only 2,500. So X minus Y is 2,500, 33,500, and X minus Y is 2,500. Y, A minus B. Y, 12,000 was wrongly credited, but he was supposed to have been credited to 14,400. So he was credited short by 2,400. Z was wrongly credited with 12,000. He's supposed to be credited with 12,100. So he's been credited short by 100 rupees. So we have to credit, we need to credit X, Y, and Z. We have to credit Y and Z with 2,400 and 100 and debit X with 100, 2,500 because he has been credited more. So my adjustment entry in this question will be X account debit 2,500, Y 2,400. Understood or not, my dear children? I'll come up with the next variation in the next question. Until then, see you in the next upcoming video on the playlist. Next variation will be provided extra. That is, in this case, they've omitted provide for interest on capital, interest on drawings, and partner salary. What if they had provided extra? And what would be the case? That is what provided extra in the sense they were not supposed to credit interest on capital, interest on drawings, or anything, but they have credited interest on capital, interest on drawings, and all. And so, what would be the case? That how to account for it, how to rectify that error. That we will see in the next question. Until then, see you. You people take care, have fun, and